Today we look at the character of God. What is God like? To believe in God's existence is one thing, but now, what character qualities does this God who exists have? So we're going to take a look at that today, the character of God. Now, theologians split up God's character into two categories, and this is quite important. The first category are the incommunicable attributes of God. Now, what does the incommunicable mean? It means that these attributes are not shared with us. These are character qualities we do not have. And why? Because God is set apart and greater than creation. So this is one category. I'm making two columns now. Then over here is the second category. These are the communicable attributes of God. The idea is that these character qualities of God are shared with us. We can have these qualities in our own life. And why is this important? Because this shows that God is also personal and interacts with us as a person. So not only is God holy, other, set apart, he is also a personal God as well. Now in this video, I'm just going to take a look at the incommunicable attributes of God, and then in the next video, we'll do the communicable attributes. So let's get started. In your notes, you should write this down, the incommunicable attributes of God. You'll need to write down the attribute and its definition. You will not be responsible for the Bible verses. You don't have to write down the Bible verses, okay? So the first attribute is self-existence. God's being is grounded only in himself. Again, you just need to write down self-existence, and then God's being is grounded only in himself. You will not need to know Bible verses on any of the tests unless I specifically say that. Also, I'm going to now kind of go quickly through this, so feel free to hit the pause button on the video so you can get the notes down. Just briefly here, God simply exists. Nothing created God. He just is. Second, God is spirit. God is pure spirit, invisible to the physical eye. God does not have a body. Obviously, when Jesus was sent to earth, that's the miracle of Christmas. God became man. He had a body, but God is pure spirit and invisible. Next, God is unchangeable. God is unchanging in the perfection of his character, nature, purposes, and promises. How thankful we are for that. God is eternal, or the eternity of God. God is not created and not subject to the limitations of time. This is kind of hard for us to get our minds around, that God has created time and he's outside of time, eternity. Next, these are the three omnis, very well known. Omnipresence means God is everywhere. He does not have size, can't measure God. So God is everywhere. This is not difficult for God because God created space. He is everywhere. Omnipotence, God is all-powerful. He does all things, he can do all things consistent with his holy nature and will. So are there things God can't do? Like, sure, he can't sin. He can't do things that are against his nature and will. But God is all-powerful. And then the final omni is omniscience. This is the idea that God is all-knowing. God knows all things, past, present, and future. God knows all things, past, present, and future. Then the last couple here. This is a very general one. God's greatness, God's awesomeness and power. God is triune, three persons, and yet still one God. We will talk more about that later in this course. And God is sovereign. Sovereign. I have this starred because this will be on numerous tests. The sovereignty of God. God is supreme and in control. Sovereign gives the idea of ruler. So God's reign is supreme over all, and he is in complete control of the kingdom or of the creation in which he rules. So those are some of the main incommunicable attributes of God.